Hare Krishna. So, very warm welcome to all of you for today's session on the Bhagavad Gita. And today we'll be covering some very important shlokas of the fourth chapter. But before that, we'll start our session with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we discussed in our previous session, Lord Krishna, he starts to speak in the fourth chapter about how this knowledge was transmitted. And Lord Krishna says that in the beginning he spoke this knowledge to the sun god, Vivaswan. And then Vivaswan, sun god, instructed to his son, Vaivasvat Manu. And Vaivasvat Manu instructed to his son, Maharaj Ikshvaku. And Lord Krishna says that in this way, through lineage, through parampara, this knowledge was disseminated. But then he goes on to say that with time, this knowledge was destroyed. And we discussed in the previous session that how this knowledge gets destroyed when foolish people, they start to do their own interpretation. They use their conditioned mind to understand the Bhagavad Gita and they add their own misinterpretation into the Bhagavad Gita. So the original knowledge gets destroyed. So with time, when people, they misinterpret the knowledge gets destroyed. So Lord Krishna says that this is what has happened and this knowledge has got destroyed. And then he goes on to say, we discussed in the third shloka, the last shloka of the previous session, you can see on your screen, Sa evayam maya tedya yoga proktah puratana. So Lord Krishna says that that same ancient wisdom which I spoke to sun god, same knowledge today I am giving to you, Arjun. That same ancient wisdom which I spoke to sun god some billions of years back, that same wisdom today I'll be disseminating to you. Because bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam yetaduttam, because you are my devotee. So we discussed that pure devotees can only benefit from this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita can only be understood from pure devotees because they only can understand the Bhagavad Gita. So this is what we discussed. Lord Krishna, he says that I spoke this knowledge to sun god. So Arjun has a very genuine question. Let us see what question Arjun has. Text 4, shloka number 4. Arjuna uvacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvatah kathame tad vijaniyam tvamadav proktavaniti. Arjuna uvacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvatah kathame tad vijaniyam tvamadav proktavaniti. Translation. Arjun said, how am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this ancient science to Vivaswan, the sun god? He is much senior in birth compared to you. So Arjun asks a genuine question here. Because we discussed that Lord Krishna is saying that I spoke this knowledge in the beginning to the sun god. So Arjun has a genuine question. He says that sun god he is born billions of years before us. You were born some few years back, but sun god is born some billions of years back. So how am I to understand this, that you instructed this science to sun god? It's a genuine question. Suppose if a person says that I went to one place yesterday and I met a king who was ruling some thousands of years back. So you will ask this genuine question, no, that how is it possible? You are my contemporary. How can you meet a king who was ruling some thousands of years back? Generally, this is difficult to understand. So that's what Arjun is also asking. That sun god was, you see, that's what he's saying. He's saying, aparam bhavato janma. Aparam means inferior, or you can say after. Aparam bhavato janma. So Arjun is saying that your birth is much after the birth of sun god. Param janma vivasvataha. Vivasvata means sun god. And sun god is born much, much before you. Param means he is much senior to you. Billions of years senior to you. Katham etad vijaniya. Katham means how. Vijaniya means to understand. So how will I understand this? Tvam adau proktavan iti. Tvam means you, Krishna. Adau. Adau means in the beginning. Proktavan, to speak. Iti. Iti means this knowledge. So how am I to understand this, Krishna, that in the beginning you spoke this knowledge to the sun god? It's difficult for me to understand because sun god is much, much senior in birth as compared to you. So a genuine question by Arjun. So let us see what Lord Krishna how Lord Krishna answers this question asked by Arjun. How should we understand that Krishna instructed the science to sun god? Now text 5, shloka number 5. Shri Bhagavan bahuni me vyatitani janmani tav charjuna tanyaham ved sarvani natvam vetha parantapa. Shri Bhagavan bahuni me vyatitani janmani tav charjuna tanyaham ved sarvani natvam vetha parantapa. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, said, O Arjun, both you and I have spent many births. I remember all of them, while you do not remember any. Now you see, what is Lord Krishna saying here? That bahuni me vyatitani. Bahuni means many, many. And vyatitani means to spend. Vyatit means to spend. Janmani tavacha Arjuna. So Lord Krishna is saying that bahuni me vyatitani, that I have spent many births, and tavacha Arjuna, and you also Arjun. Tanyaham veda sarvani. But I remember all my births. Whatever activities I did in all my births, in my previous births which I have taken, I remember all of them. But natvam vetha parantapa. Natvam vetha means to know. So Arjun, natvam, you do not remember anything what you did in your past births. But I remember everything what I did in my past births. You see. So Lord Krishna here in the shloka clearly draws the distinction between him and Arjun. He clearly tells that there is difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and any other living entity. How much ever great a person may be, but still he is forgetful. Now Arjun is not an ordinary person. He has been the chosen one to hear this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. He has been chosen by Lord Krishna. So Arjun is not an ordinary person. But Arjun, although he is the chosen one, but still he does not remember anything what he did in his past life. And Lord Krishna is saying that Arjun, I remember everything what I did in my past life. So this is the difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and ordinary living entities. Now Arjun, he is a pure devotee of Krishna, but still he is a jiva, he's a living entity, he's part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Of course, he is a very pious living entity, very special living entity, a very special human being. But still, he is not God. And this is what Lord Krishna is telling here. That I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is the difference between the Supreme Lord and an ordinary person. An ordinary person is always forgetful. He will forget everything. But the Supreme Lord, he is not forgetful. This is the difference in the intelligence and memory of the Supreme Lord and an ordinary living entity. So there is difference. Eternally, there is difference between us and the Lord. The Lord is always the Supreme Lord, and we are always infinitesimal, tiny living entities. Of course, we are part and parcel of Krishna, but still we are very tiny, and the Lord is infinite. His memory, his intelligence, everything is unlimited. And we as living entities, we are limited. And this difference between us and the Lord is eternal. Of course, when we become pure devotees, because we are part and parcel of the Lord, so yes, when we perfect our human life, of course, then we become pure devotees. We attract mercy of the Lord. But the difference between an ordinary living entity and the Supreme Lord is mentioned here by Krishna. That what is the difference between him and Arjun? So Lord Krishna says that I remember everything, what I did in my past birth. But Arjun, you do not remember anything. So why Lord Krishna remembers everything? Let us see. Text 6, shloka number 6. Ajopi sanna vyayatma bhutanamishvaropi san prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. Ajopi sanna vyayatma bhutanamishvaropi san prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. Translation. Although I am eternally situated in my transcendental spiritual form, which never deteriorates, and although I am the supreme controller of all living beings in the entire creation, I still appear by my own sweet will through the agency of my internal potency called Yog Maya. Now you see, what is Lord Krishna saying here? So Lord Krishna is saying that Ajopi means, Aja means unborn. Ajopi san avyayatma. Avyayatma means that my form, my transcendental form never deteriorates. Avyay means which never deteriorates. Vyay means which deteriorates. So my transcendental form never deteriorates. And why Lord Krishna is saying this? Because if you read the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, which is mentioned in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also mentioned in many scriptures, but predominantly it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And also, if you see the paintings and pictures of Lord Krishna, you will never see that Krishna He has become old. He's holding a stick in his hand. He has become old and he's walking with some help and he has gray hairs. No, you'll never see that. Krishna's picture, wherever you will see, you will always see Krishna in the most youthful form, just like a 16-year-old young man. Everywhere, wherever you see the picture of Lord Krishna or of any other avatar of the Lord, all the avatars, whether it is Lord Ram or Lord Krishna, Lord Vaman Dev, Lord Narsingh Dev, you'll never see that they are having gray beard and gray hair and they have become old. Their backbone is not is not erect and they are bent and they are walking with a stick in their hand. No, you'll never see the Lord like that. In fact, when this battle of Mahabharata took place, Lord Krishna, he was more than 100 years. His age was more than 100 years at that time. And Lord Krishna, as we know, he had 16,000 wives in Dwarka, and with every wife he had 10 children. So Krishna had so many children and he had so many sons and grandsons at that time. And his age was more than 100 years. But if you see the form of Lord Krishna in the battlefield of Mahabharata, it exactly resembles a 16-year-old man, beautiful young man, blooming youth and exceptional beauty. So surprisingly, Krishna, when he was born as a small baby, he grows till youthhood, but after youthhood, he never becomes old because that is his original form. That is his original transcendental form. And that's what Lord Krishna is saying here. You see, Ajopi san navyayatma, that my transcendental body, transcendental form never deteriorates. Bhutanam ishwaropi san. And then he says that Bhutanam ishwaropi san. Bhutanam ishwar. Bhutanam means living entities. All the living entities in the universe, they are called Bhutanam. Why Bhutanam? Bhut means Panchbhut. There are 5 elements in this universe, 5 primary elements which constitute this universe. And every living entity's body is made up of these 5 elements. Which are these 5 elements? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Okay. So because every living entity's body in the whole universe is made up of these 5 bhutas, which are called Panchbhutas, that's why living entities are called Bhutanam. So Bhutanam means all the living entities in the universe. So Lord Krishna is saying that Bhutanam Ishwar Api San. I am the Ishwar of all the living entities in the universe. Ishwar means the supreme controller. He is the supreme controller of all the living entities in the universe. That means he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Prakritim swamadhishthaya. So how does he appear? So Lord Krishna says here, Prakritim swamadhishthaya. I appear out of my own prakriti. Prakritim swam means my own prakriti, my own divine will, my own sweet will. No one forces Lord Krishna to take birth. No. That's why he is called Avatar. Avatar means to come down, to descend. So the Lord, he descends out of his own desire, out of his own sweet will. So Prakritim Swamadhishthaya Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. And all this is made possible by Atma Mayaya. Atma Mayaya means my internal potency. So internal potency of Lord Krishna is also called Yoga Maya. Like here in this shloka, it is mentioned Atma Mayaya. This Atma Maya also means Yoga Maya. There are 2 kinds of Maya. Of course, both are energies of Krishna only. But One energy pushes us closer to Krishna. That energy of Krishna, which brings us closer to Krishna, which unites us with Krishna, is called Yog Maya. And that energy of Krishna, which separates us from Krishna, is called Mahamaya. So here in this shloka, Lord Krishna is talking about Yog Maya. So Yog Maya is the internal potency of Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is saying here, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya, that I appear out of my Yog Maya potency. My Yog Maya potency is responsible for all my activities which I perform in this universe. So this is the shloka. This is the first time in the Bhagavad Gita. This is the first shloka where Lord Krishna reveals his original position, that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. You see, that's what is mentioned. Bhutanam Ishwaropi San, that I am the supreme Lord of all the living entities. So this is the first shloka where Lord Krishna reveals his transcendental position to Arjun. This is the first shloka. So from here, the glories of Lord Krishna starts. From here, Lord Krishna begins to reveal his position. And why Lord Krishna is revealing his own position? Why he is himself talking about his position? So that we must not be fooled by those cheaters who say that they are God. Nowadays, you find a lot of gods moving around in the marketplace. If you go in the marketplace, a lot of gods will be moving around. They will all claim that I am God. Right? They all will claim that I am God. Many of them, especially in India, you find a lot of so-called ascetics, so-called many people. They pose themselves as God. So that we are not cheated by such people, so that innocent people are not cheated by such people, Lord Krishna is revealing his position himself, because only Lord Krishna can talk about himself. About the Supreme Lord, only the Supreme Lord can tell. Ordinary living entities cannot know about him everything. About him, only he can tell. And that's what he is saying here. So that's what he is saying, that Avyayatma, that my transcendental body never deteriorates. And that is why you see in the previous shloka, what is Lord Krishna telling Arjun? That Arjun, I have also taken many births and you have also taken many births, but you have forgotten everything and I remember everything. So why he remembers everything? Why he remembers everything? Because his transcendental body never deteriorates. You'll never find that the Supreme Lord, when he descends in this world as avatar, whether it is Lord Ram or Lord Balram, Lord Lakshman, Lord Vaman Dev, Lord Narsingh Dev, and Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So any of the avatars, any of the form of the Lord as avatar, those who descend from the spiritual world, you'll never find that any of the avatars, they are cremated. You'll never find that they have died like ordinary people. No. No one, you'll never hear about them that they are dying. Like ordinary people, their bodies, they are lying somewhere, they die, their body is lying, and then their body is being carried to a crematorium and their body is cremated. No, never ever you will hear about any avatar. No. When the Lord wants to be seen by us, he appears before us. And when he decides to unwind his pastimes, he disappears from us, from our eyes. That is how he takes birth. That is how he descends. He is not born from seminal discharge. No. That's why he's saying Avyayatma, his body is transcendental, never deteriorates. And that is why he's remembering everything in his past lives. Lord Krishna, that's what he's saying in the previous shloka. What is he saying? That Arjun, you have also taken many births and I have also taken many births, but you have forgotten everything. I remember everything. Why? Because his body is not like our body. He does not take birth like us and he does not die. Lord never dies. We never celebrate or we never remember death anniversary of the Lord. You'll never hear about that. We celebrate death anniversary of pure devotees. But we never, even we don't know death anniversary of the Lord. No one knows that. Why? Because there is no death anniversary. He never dies. Neither he takes birth. He just appears before us and he disappears. So his transcendental body never deteriorates. His intelligence, his memory, they never deteriorate like our intelligence and memory. If someone asks us that what we were doing 1 year back at the same time, we'll not remember. If someone asks us what we were doing at this time a week back, even for us it's difficult to fathom, it's difficult to remember. We do not remember even what we were doing maybe a day before at this point of time. But that is not the case with the Lord. He remembers exactly the same knowledge what he spoke to the sun god billions of years back. Exactly the same knowledge he's going to now deliver to Arjun. Exactly, without any change. That's what he said in the previous shloka. That's sa evayam mayate adi yoga proktah puratana. That same ancient wisdom today I'll speak to you, Arjun. So that is the potency of the Lord. Because his memory, his intelligence, everything about the Lord is unlimited, infinite. And everything about ordinary living entities is limited and finite. Krishna is infinite, his potency is infinite, everything about his is infinite. And everything related to living entities is finite. Lord is Krishna, God never becomes God. God is always God under all circumstances. God never becomes God by doing some tapasya in Himalayas. No. Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, they never became God by some austerity or some yogic mystic power. No. God never becomes God. God is always God. Living entities are always living entities. God is always God. Supreme Lord never becomes the Supreme Lord. He's always the Supreme Lord eternally. Right? So, especially in India, you find a lot of so-called mystic yogis. They go to Himalayas, they do some little bit of austerity and penance, and they will come and then tell everyone that I have become God by practicing some mystic power. No, no. God never becomes God. He's always God under all circumstances. So Lord Krishna, since the day he was born, he appeared before his mother and father. Since that day, he always practiced, he always behaved like God. So that is the difference between the Lord and ordinary living entities. And that's what Lord Krishna is clearly talking about here. The difference between him and ordinary living entities. So, okay, now Lord Krishna tells that I appear out of my own prakriti because I am the Supreme Lord. But why does he appear? Let us see. Text 7, shloka number 7. Yada yada hi dharmasya ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम धर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम धर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. Translation. O Bharata, whenever and wherever there is a decline in dharma and an excessive rise in adharma, at that time I manifest myself. Now you see, what is Lord Krishna saying here? Yada yada hi dharmasya glani. Dharmasya glani means loss. Glani means loss. So Lord Krishna is saying that yada yada means whenever and wherever. Dharmasya glani, there is decline or there is loss of dharma. Dharma means religious principles, righteous principles. And abhyutthanam adharmasya, adharma means irreligiosity, immoral, unethical principles. So abhyutthanam adharmasya. So whenever there is decline in religiosity and whenever there is rise of irreligiosity, tada atmanam srijamyaham. Tada means at that time, atmanam srijamyaham. Srijami means to manifest, Srijami basically means creation, but here Srijami means manifest. So Lord Krishna is saying that at that time I manifest myself. You see. So once there was a king and he had a very intelligent minister. And the king had a lot of faith in his minister. That his minister, because whenever the king would ask some question, the minister, his intelligent minister will give him nice solutions. So whenever the king will have any question, he'll go to the minister. So one day they had a discussion. And the king, he told, because his minister was a nice devotee, a great devotee of Lord Krishna. And king was little atheist by nature. He didn't believe in God. So the king, he said that, he told his minister, he asked the question, that minister, I have heard many people, they say that the Supreme Lord, he descends, he takes avatar, he descends in this material world. But why would he descend? He is living in his supreme abode. And why would he care to come to this filthy material world? Why would he care to come to this dirty place, this earthly planet, from his supreme abode, from his brilliant, effulgent, exceptionally beautiful abode? So the minister said that, Your Majesty, I'll answer your question, but I'll answer it tomorrow. And he said that tomorrow I request you to bring your young son with you. And tomorrow we'll go for a boat ride in the river Yamuna. So the king, he knew that my minister is very intelligent. So he would have something in his mind. So the king obeyed him very sincerely. So next day, the king appeared with his young little son on the bank of the Yamuna river. And as told by the minister, they had to go for a boat ride. So the minister, he had arranged two boats. two boats. So the king asked the minister that, why have you arranged two boats? So the minister said, well, Your Majesty, on one boat you will be traveling with your soldiers, with your bodyguards, and in one of the boats I'll be traveling uh, with your young little child. So the king said, okay, as you wish, do that. So they both boarded the boat and the boat started moving. After some time, the minister was very intelligent, so he had arranged a duplicate of a duplicate diorama of the young little child of the king with exactly the same dress, the same color of the dress, everything similar. So as they moved into a deeper part of into the river where the water becomes deep, so they moved to that area, and the minister, he told the son of the little child of the king. So basically he uh, hid the child and he threw the diorama, the duplicate of this child, into the river. When the king saw this this idol, or this, not idol exactly, but a diorama kind of his young son being thrown into the river. Now king did not know this because he thought that his son has been thrown into the river. So the king immediately jumped into the river to save his young son, his little child. When he swam across and he reached uh, this dummy, of of the young child, and the king, when he came to know that this is a dummy of his young little child, he became very angry on the minister. He said, Minister, what are you doing? Do you know what you have done? So the minister said, well, Your Majesty, I wanted to give the answer to your question which you asked yesterday. So the king said, how can this act of yours answer my question? So the minister said, well, why did you jump into the river? So the king said that, well, I jumped because I thought that my son he's drowning in the river. And the minister said, well, you could have told your bodyguards to save your son. Why did you jump? Because you love your son. So you didn't care about your bodyguards. No, you yourself jumped into the ocean or into the river. So king understood that why Krishna descends in this world. Because we are all his loving children. We are all his part and parcel. We all living entities in this universe. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna loves us. Because Krishna is unlimited, his love is also unlimited. So when he sees us suffering in this material creation, he does not like it. He does not want us to live here. Right? So, because this world has been created by the Lord in a way so that living entities can be transformed. But when he sees his part and parcel living entities suffering in this material world, being compassionate on all of us, he feels the requirement to descend and give us the principles of dharma, the principles of religiosity, dharma, because dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma is what is spoken by Krishna. We cannot concoct our own religious principles. No. Dharma means whatever is spoken by Krishna, that is dharma. So that is why the Lord descends to save us, to protect us, because he's compassionate and loves us. He loves us. He is compassionate towards us. And that is why the Lord is called Avatar. Avatar means it is composed of two words, Ava and Taran. Avataran means to descend from up to down. So he descends from his supreme abode into this material creation. Right? And he gives us the religious principle, he gives us the principles of dharma so that we all can surrender to him. That is the only way we can be happy. So that is why he descends in this material creation. So Bhagavad Gita is the book of dharma. Why? Because this is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad means Krishna and Gita means the song of God. So Bhagavad Gita is the book of dharma. Earth is one, sun is one, universe is one. So dharma is also one because God is one. So that dharma is called Sanatan Dharma. So one dharma, Sanatan, one God, Krishna, one earth, one sun, one moon, everything. So that is why Lord Krishna is saying here that he descends to, you see, whenever there is rise of adharma, to re-establish dharma, he descends. So Bhagavad Gita is the book of dharma. Bhagavad Gita is not a management book. Many times people think that Bhagavad Gita is a management book. No, that's nonsense. Bhagavad Gita is not a management book. Why would Krishna teach us management? Of course, when we learn this science of the Bhagavad Gita, we develop spiritual strength, which is called Yog Bal, Atma Bal, Yog Bal. Of course, because matter follows a spirit. Body is controlled by spirit soul. We are all spirit souls. So we control the body. So if we become spiritually strong, then automatically body will follow. Everything else will follow. That is why all our acharyas, they never give us material instructions. They will always give us instructions for spiritual advancement, because material advancement is followed by spiritual advancement. Material advancement follows spiritual advancement. Just like I always give this example that when you water the root of the tree, then the water will reach all the leaves and branches automatically. So this Bhagavad Gita is like watering the root of the tree, which is we, the spirit soul. So when we develop spiritual strength, all other strength automatically develops. But Bhagavad Gita is not a management book or a geography or a physics book. No. Bhagavad Gita is the book of dharma. And when we follow dharma, we become pious, we become dear to Krishna, we awaken our lost relationship with Krishna, we develop spiritual strength, and automatically all strength develops. So we will see in the 18th chapter, Lord Krishna talks about what is real dharma. In the 18th chapter, 66 shloka, Lord Krishna says, real dharma is sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam braja. Lord Krishna says that real dharma is to give up all your concocted dharmas, all your concocted religious principles, and mam ekam sharanam braja. Take only my shelter. Mam ekam means only me. Just take my shelter and I will take care of everything. That is the highest religious principle. That is the highest principle of dharma, to surrender unto Krishna completely. And then Krishna will take care of everything because he is taking care of everything. Are we in control of anything? No. Nothing is controlled by us. Everything is controlled by Krishna. It's an illusion. This is called Maya. This is the illusion that we control everything. No. Everything he is only doing. So that is what we are seeing here. Lord Krishna says that why he descends. Now text 8, shloka number 8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya संभवामि युगे युगे परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. Translation: to deliver my saintly devotees and to annihilate the sinful and evil and to re-establish dharma, I appear in every age. Now you see, what is Lord Krishna saying here? He is saying that paritranaya sadhuna, sadhu. Sadhu word comes from, in Sanskrit, the word sadhu comes from the word sadhak and sadhana. So that, as I have told you many times in the previous sessions also, that the most important activity by which we make spiritual advancement is Shravanam and Kirtanam. These two are the primary processes recommended by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Shravanam and Kirtanam. On a regular basis, hearing of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and now on our YouTube channel, we have around, just today I was discussing with one devotee. So we have around 1000 lectures, 1000 sessions. So regularly hearing of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and that is Shravanam, and then Kirtanam, chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, 16 rounds. So by these two processes, we really make spiritual advancement very fast, right? So a person who follows this process is called a sadhak, and this process is called sadhana. So a person who on a regular basis hears the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 16 rounds, he is called a sadhak. Sadhak. So he is, why? Because he is performing the practice of sadhana. Sadhana means to tame ourselves, to resonate ourselves with the supreme energy, the supreme abode of the Lord. So that is called sadhana, to resonate ourselves with the spiritual energy. A person who follows sadhana, he is called sadhak. And when a sadhak, he perfects his sadhana, that means when he becomes a pure devotee, he is called sadhu. Sadhu means a person who has attained siddhi. Siddhi means supreme perfection of human life. That is called siddhi. So what is siddhi? Siddhi means the ultimate perfection. What is the ultimate perfection? Because in this material world, when we come into this material world, we come under the influence of the three modes, and we have forgotten our loving relationship with Krishna. Originally, the spirit soul is part and parcel of Krishna, and he is a lover of Krishna. We are all naturally lovers of Krishna. But when we descend in this material world, and when we come in touch with this material body, we forget that relationship. So the supreme siddhi or the supreme perfection, param siddhi it is called, the supreme perfection of human life is to revive, to reawaken that loving relationship, that lost loving relationship with Krishna, which we have forgotten. That is the supreme perfectional stage, and that is called param siddhi. So sadhu means a lover of Krishna, who has revived his love for Krishna. So that's what Lord Krishna is saying. Paritranaya sadhuna. So the first purpose of the appearance of the Lord is paritranaya sadhuna. Paritranaya means to liberate, to love his devotees, to liberate his devotees. So Krishna appears for his sadhus, for his pure devotees. Of course, whenever we go to a place, we want to go to a place where people love us, isn't it? We will not want to go to a place where people are envious of us or people hate us. No. So Lord Krishna also descends where his pure devotees are. And he descends predominantly for his pure devotees. It does not mean that Krishna is partial. No, he is impartial. He loves every living entity equally. For example, a father, he may have 10 sons, and a father loves all 10 sons equally. But if one of the sons, he comes and every day speaks to his father nicely, takes his blessing, massage his feet, then automatically father will be more affectionate to that son, because that son will attract more mercy, more blessing, isn't it? Similarly, Krishna is equal to everyone, but a devotee attracts more mercy, more blessing from Krishna. And that is what Lord Krishna is saying here, that Paritranaya Sadhunam, I descend for my pure devotees. And then he says, Vinashaya cha dushkritam. The second purpose is to destroy the demons or destroy the evil people. But to destroy evil people, Krishna need not to come personally, because that act can be done by a tsunami or an earthquake, isn't it? A natural disturbance may come and everything will be destroyed. So he does not need to personally come to kill the demons. No, that will automatically happen in due course of time. So primary purpose of Krishna's appearance is his pure devotees. And then he says, Dharma Sansthapanarthaya. So first purpose is to deliver pure devotees. Second purpose is to kill the demons. Of course, he does not need to come personally, but when he comes, he does that also. He destroys the demons also. And Dharma Sansthapanarthaya. And to re-establish Dharma Sanstapana. Sanstapana means to re-establish the principles of Dharma. We as devotees, we are preachers of Dharma. We preach the message of Krishna. But we cannot say that we re-establish Dharma. No. Dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma can only be established by Krishna. And he says that Sambhavami yuge yuge. So I appear in every yuga, in every age. Right? So I think most of you might have heard this beautiful pastime, that how Lord Krishna descended into this material creation, how the Lord appeared here. So during Janmashtami, we discussed this beautiful pastime, that when sinful activities increase on earthly Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. There is some problem with the sound here, some problem with the PC. So, anyways, are you all able to hear me? If you are able to hear me, you can just raise your hand. Okay. So, I'll just complete this whole pastime. So, Lord Krishna, he felt, so Mother Earth, Bhudevi, she went to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma felt bad. He felt pity on Bhudevi, Mother Earth. And Lord Brahma, along with all the demigods, he went to Shwetadweep. Now, Shwetadweep is pole star. Shwetadweep is basically, if we look into the sky, on the northern side of the sky, there is a special star which is always at that position. And that star is called Shwetadweep or pole star. In English, it is called pole star. In Hindi, in Sanskrit, it is called Dhruv Tara or Shwetadweep. And it is generally white in color. Why? Because the Shwetadweep has an ocean which is made up of milk. It contains milk ocean. In our recently, few years back, NASA, United States Space Agency, they have found a planet in our universe which is made of diamond, right? So in our Vedic scriptures, it's given that there are many planets in the universe which have different characteristics. Like on our earthly planet, the ocean is of salty water. There are many planets which have oceans of liquor, oceans of uh, sugarcane juice, like that. So Shwetadweep is the abode of Lord Vishnu, where he lives, and that planet has an ocean which is made up of milk. It's called Shir Sagar. So Lord Brahma, along with all the devotees, demigods, he went and they all prayed to the Lord, and the Lord did not appear. So then Lord Brahma sat in meditation on the Lord, and Lord transmitted message into the heart of Lord Brahma that you go and all of you prepare for me to appear on the earthly planet. So this news got spread all over the universe in all the planetary systems. Now everyone wanted to take birth on earthly planet. So some some devotees, they took birth as cow in Vrindavan, as monkey in Vrindavan, and different living entities in Vrindavan, trees and grass in Vrindavan, so that they can all be in touch with Krishna. And some devotees, they took birth as dust in Vrindavan, so that can always be at the lotus feet of Krishna. So like that, they all took birth in Vrindavan. So Vrindavan was prepared in such a way that Lord Krishna can come and enact his beautiful pastimes. Braj Mandal. This Braj Mandal, which is also called Vrindavan, was prepared for the Lord. Just imagine a president of a small country, when he goes somewhere, so much of arrangement is made, isn't it? But just imagine the Supreme Lord is appearing, who is the proprietor of the whole creation. So what kind of arrangements would be made at that time? All the arrangements are made, and then the Lord descends and he unwinds his beautiful pastimes. So like that, there are different avatars of the Lord. And one of the avatar of the Lord is also deity avatar or Arch avatar. When we go to a temple of the Lord, the deity that we see in the temple, the beautiful form of Krishna, the Lord descends in the deity also. Because here in this shloka, you see Lord Krishna is saying, Paritrana sadhuna. The Lord descends for his pure devotees. So when pure devotees, they desire to serve Krishna, they want to offer food to Krishna, they want to dress Lord Krishna beautifully. So the Lord, to please his pure devotees, he descends in the deity in the temple. So those who do not believe in the Lord, for them, the deity in the temple may be like a stone or wood. But for pure devotees, the deity in the temple, the pure devotees, they talk to the deities. Sometimes the deities, they walk walk with the pure devotees. They talk with pure devotees, right? So there are many such pastimes also. So that's how the Lord descends in this material world, and no one can force the Lord. Like here he is saying that Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. So I appear in every age. But that does not mean that he's bound, that he has to appear in every age. No, he's not bound to appear in every age, or he's not bound that he will appear at such and such time. No, whenever he wants, he can appear. No one can force the Lord to appear. He appears out of his own sweet desire, sweet will. So many people say that why would the Lord descend? Why would the Lord take avatar? I say that who are you to decide? Will you decide why the Lord will descend and why he will not descend? No, it's he who decides. It's his sweet will and desire. Whatever he wants, he can do, because this whole creation, it belongs to him. So this is what we are seeing here in these shlokas, and we'll stop here today's session. There is some technical problem, some technical glitch, because of which I think this this whole video it has frozen. But anyways, today's session will stop here. We'll continue our discussion in the next session. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming for today's session.